Rebel Force Radio presents
Star Wars Cantina.
Where are you going, Master?
For a drink.
Sorry about the mess.
You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. We must be cautious.
Obi-Wan Kenobi from the Clone Wars, James Arnold Taylor.
There he comes.
Well, we can't say enough about Dave and you guys, the access that you provide the fans. I mean, we're just, like Jon Stewart said in his press conference, we're just sort of the conduit, but there's got to be a source of this, and it's from you guys. And, I mean, imagine 30 years ago having this kind of access, to the principal characters in the films. I mean, these guys are amazing. You're amazing.
Well, we love it. As voice actors, most of the time we're kind of kept behind the curtain and in a little booth, padded room talking to ourselves, and that's pretty much how they like us. So Star Wars has given us this opportunity to not only be fans, but to interact with fans and to people that are the same as us and love this. And what an opportunity to portray characters that are, just so amazing. And so the one thing we get, which is thrilling to us when we're over here signing, is people go, "Man, you're like the nicest cast." And we go, "Well, what else are we going to do? We're like all of you. We're happy to be here." So last night, Dee Bradley Baker and Tom Kane and myself, we were watching the news, and they were doing this story on the convention. And we were in my room, and I looked down, and I had a great shot of the convention center right there. And I went, "There's like a bunch of people down there." So we all put on our jackets and looked in the mirror and went and got our hair nice, and we went down and just tried to thank everybody. And we had a great time for like an hour and a half going down and signing things and, taking pictures with people because, this is why we're here. We're here for Star Wars.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's great that you guys give back.
Oh.
I mean, really, what kind of franchise has the cast and crew just giving back constantly? We appreciate it so much, James.
Don't know
so
of one.
much.
But James, this is your first official celebration.
No.
Right?
No, it is not.
It's not?
No. I was in Los Angeles before, but...
because of the Gendy series, right?
Because of the Gendy series, although nobody knew me and nobody cared.
No.
I was walking around and we got,
but
Obi-Wan
you
Kenobi.
knew.
Yeah.
But did you know at that time that...
Yeah, we had already been recording for over a year.
Yeah, of course. Okay,
and
but
so
you couldn't say
like,
anything.
Yeah, I couldn't say anything. But no, I was like, yeah, well, next time, man. Next time. No, it was great. And the kind of cool thing about that was I got to just walk through and see everything and just, buy stuff and like, it's like I'm dying to get out there and look at the merchandise and look at all the cool things to get and, and participate in this. But
there's no going back. You're not putting that genie back in the bottle.
No, but it's the coolest thing in the world. It's, with Star Wars, we get to be rock stars, so it's very nice,
Yeah, that is nice.
And
do you have a collection of Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Yes, I do. And much to my daughter's chagrin, most of them stay in the packaging. And
Really?
She looks at them, and she knows, though. She's 5 years old. And I say, someday, when I'm gone...
Yeah.
When I'm just a hologram there, these will all be yours. And she kind of looks at me like... Yeah, I hope that happens sooner than later. Because I just want to open those up and play with those, because you got all these cool little figures, Plo Koon and Obi-Wan and 4A7 and all these, I mean, the coolest thing in the world is when you're on a lunchbox. And I have a couple characters, whether it be from Star Wars or from Final Fantasy or Ratchet and Clank things, having action figures and being on lunchboxes, it's like, as a kid, I aspired to be on one of these, and to have all of them, it's very cool. But yeah, I have a wall of fame there. It's fun.
That's
Do
awesome.
you have a particular favorite kind of incarnation of Obi-Wan, like as far as the look, the design, or?
I like what we're going to see Obi-Wan looking like soon. I think I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What he's going to be looking like soon.
Yeah. I mean, they make minor, I think it's fair to say, they make minor changes. I think you might have even saw some of that on a clip that Dave had shared.
Right.
He might have looked a little different. But, no, I really love our Clone Wars version of him. I loved Gendy's as well, and it was very cool. But when I saw this, I mean, it doesn't hurt that sometimes they mention, they kind of stylize it after us, because they have cameras shooting us when we do the show a lot of times.
Really?
And so if you see Obi-Wan doing, I got to set the mic down. You see him doing this.
You're just like kind of rubbing your beard, thinking.
That's because most of the time when I'm doing the session, that's how I stand.
Yeah.
Because Matt's usually right next to me, and And I'm doing this whole, yes, Anakin. You know, I'm thinking about it. You know, which do you think it'll go in, the nose or the ear? You know, I was doing that, and Obi-Wan was doing that, and that's because that's what I was doing, and they had cameras on it, so it's really cool. They kind of model that after a lot of the stuff that we do, and it's really cool.
When you first learned you got the gig as Obi-Wan Kenobi, did you go back and watch the prequels again? And did you watch Alec Guinness's performance as Obi-Wan for some inspiration?
Yeah. I did, and I do. I still do.
You still do, okay.
There's not many days that go by where I don't, especially right now, I'm in my Alec mode. You know, for a while I was in my Ewan mode. Now I'm in my Alec mode where I'm watching a lot of him because of where we're going with the show too, you know, Obi-Wan's getting older and wiser and all that. But I do watch, and we were talking about that in a panel last night about those moments, those brief moments where he's thinking about Anakin Skywalker, talking to Luke. And I go, okay, I try to pull those things out, but I definitely watch him all the time, and I have on my iPod all of the lines, you know, of both of them. So,
is there a particular line, James, that you might say to yourself aloud to get your voice into that spot?
Yeah, if I know the script, and again, I'm sorry if I'm a broken record, but we get the scripts usually about 24 hours in advance if we're lucky. And then other times, if we have less than 10 lines in an episode, we get them right then. And that's the great thing. That's the amazing thing about voice actors. If you see a voice actor today, give him a hug. No, because voice actors, you know.
I had to do it.
For those of you that were just listening. So, anyways, if you see a because you know what we have to do is, you know, we have to just cold read everything. People say, "How do you get into voice acting? What should I do?" I say, read whatever you can. And learn how to read cold, because that's what you do. So you get these scripts and you read them, and you try to just zone in as much as you can. So if I know in advance what I'm doing in the day, if it's going to be a lot of me and Anakin, I will watch those scenes from you know, Sith. You know, in the elevator shaft, you know. Right? You know, well, did I say? I didn't say anything, you know, and all that. I will watch all of those, and I will get into that. Or if it's, you know, if it's one where I know I'm going to be with Rex or Cody, you know. Cody, battle positions, you know, I know I'm going to do. Come to your senses, man. What do you think Padme would do if she was in your position? You know, I'll be watching those scenes and listening to them in my head, and I have them in my car playing them, and I always think people think I'm probably nuts, you know, blasting dialogue from Star Wars. Put the window down. Hey, how you doing? You know, it's just, what? Is there something wrong with that?
No, not at all.
No, come on.
So you did audition, right?
I did audition.
Okay. Even though you had done the Gendy series previous.
Oh, well, for Clone Wars, I'm sorry, for this Clone Wars,
yes,
it was. I think it's safe for me to say this. If it's not, oh well. I had, they brought me in to read. Primarily to get a sense of Anakin and everything, and I actually read for Obi-Wan and Anakin for this, and they had me switching back and forth.
Wow. So you do an Anakin voice then?
No, well, that was a weird thing. The only thing I could pick up from Hayden's performance was he's kind of Christopher Walken.
Is he?
If you ever listen, the Emperor doesn't, you know. Obi-Wan nobody understands. He drags words out.
He does do that.
Yeah.
I know.
So listen
exactly
to him in Sith, and there's a bit of a Walken thing happening.
Yeah.
You know, and so that was the one thing I tuned into, and I think that's where Dave went, yeah, okay, he's not going to be reading Anakin.
So it was just an audition for Clone Wars. You didn't know walking into it you were going to do Obi-Wan?
I knew that they were doing a new one. I knew that I had, you know, because I had done all the games and everything previous, and I had a pretty good chance of getting it. But I also know as a voice actor, you don't take anything lightly. You know, I'm in the process currently right now of re-auditioning for the voice of Fred Flintstone.
Yeah.
Which is wonderful because, you know, I've had the voice. I was chosen by Henry Corden, who was Fred Flintstone.
The original, yeah.
The original. Well, he was the second one, and before he passed away, he chose me as the next person.
That's what I said, the second one.
After about 2,000 people auditioned, and I'm in the process of re-auditioning.
Okay.
And it keeps coming back to me. It's weird. It's great, but you never know. So I went in going, well, okay, I'm not going to expect this at all. And Dave and Henry Gilroy were there, and they were both big fans of what I had done with Obi-Wan before. And from what I understood, the video game of Sith, when I had done that and we did the end stuff, you know, and again, you guys probably get tired of it, but, you know, you were supposed to be the chosen one, Anakin, you know, that, you know. Then you are lost.
I love
all of that. When we did that, apparently at Lucas Arts, they got that to Lucas as well, and they said, this is the guy you should keep, because there's always been kind of that, other people were kind of doing it here and there. So it was like, no, that locked it in, as he knows both levels of Ewan. So.
Now, I wonder what it would have been like, say, if Gilbert Gottfried had auditioned for the role of Obi-Wan Kenobi. I wonder what that could have been like.
You look tired? Because of your mother? Oh, sure. Did you have the dream with your mother? Yeah. And she's walking, and then Tony Soprano comes in. And he's got this kind of crazy thing, and he's eating a sandwich. It's all right. Be mindful, Anakin. It'll pass. Maybe take an antacid before you go to bed.
Something like that, yeah.
It doesn't have quite the same.
It's not the same, yeah. It's not.
But I hear that I'm actually picturing Iago from Aladdin flying around here.
Jedi want a cracker?
Yeah. It's fun. You can't do that voice without closing your eyes and looking like Gilbert Gottfried.
Yes.
In those early days, James, they were obviously looking for not just individual voices, probably, but voices that worked together, I would imagine. Did you, was there an opportunity for you to be testing with the other actors? Or did you just all end up in the same room together like, hey, meet Anakin?
Yeah, the first session, Tom Kane and I were, and TC were really the only ones that had kind of made it through from Gendy's series. And, and that's always, in voiceover, again, we all kind of end up playing parts. I've been Spider-Man. I've been Harry Osborn. The guy that played Harry Osborn was playing Spider-Man on the last series I was playing Harry Osborn. We switched roles. It happens all the time. So we all kind of met the first day with Dave and went through all of this artwork, and they kind of explained things to us. And then they show us, okay, and this person's going to be playing this. And we hear Kat Tabor was not there at that session, and they play her audition.
Oh.
And the room kind of went dead. We were all like, oh my gosh, that's just like perfect. So it was very cool.
The interesting thing about Kat is she doesn't do anything with her voice. I mean, that's au naturel.
Yeah.
It's uncanny.
And she also just says, well, I'm just doing Padme. I'm not doing anybody else. I'm doing Padme, the character of Padme, which is a great way of looking at it as an actor.
Right.
Because there's a lot of pressure when you're a voice double. I do so many actors' voices all the time, and people go, oh, it's easy. These guys walk in, they make a bunch of dough, and they just talk for them, and they're in their pajamas. I mean, and that's true, but the point is that, there's a bunch of pressure, to be these people. And so when the first episode, when we went to record it, Dave says, don't worry. George says, obviously, Alec Guinness is never going to be Obi-Wan Kenobi again. Ewan McGregor's not going to be Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're Obi-Wan Kenobi. Make the most of it now, James, and take that and do with it, respect. But, feel free to not live in that wall that you've been in of having to make sure, does that sound exactly like Ewan McGregor? Because you want to fool people, you don't want them to think that it's him. So Obi-Wan has changed over the last couple of seasons a little. I don't know if you hear, he was very kind of very proper and very stiff, and he was very, Anakin, and people were kind of like, oh, he's a little stiff. But that was a very specific direction, from Dave, and I think it totally paid off, and it shows that here's a guy that is in the prime of his life, but he's got to be the older brother to this guy that he knows could destroy everyone who chooses to.
Yeah.
So, some of that is that Obi-Wan's trying to put on the biggest, I'm the toughest man in the room, thing, even though he doesn't necessarily believe in himself. So,
that's interesting, James. I want to ask you, and I'm not implying by asking you this that you know anything that we don't know, but just as somebody who plays the role, do you feel like Obi-Wan really thinks Anakin's dangerous, deep down?
Dangerous? Yeah. I think dangerous, but I
like
still
in a
think
self-destructive sort of way, right?
Yeah, that he's got to just be pulled back.
More of a danger to himself at this point, you think?
Yeah, I don't think it's... Yeah, I think he loves him as a brother, and as if you had a younger brother that you were seeing doing things that he shouldn't be doing, you're not sitting there thinking, man, you're going to mess it up, and everybody's going to be... You're thinking, oh, please don't kill yourself. It's like, come on, don't take your foot off with the lightsaber. It's like... don't jump out of the building into nothingness, and hope that there's a ship there to catch you. But so I think that's how he takes it.
Now, say Michael J. Fox auditioned for the role of Obi-Wan Kenobi. I mean, that's pretty crazy, right? What would that sound like?
Well, okay, wait a second. Oh, wait a second, Qui-Gon. You mean to tell me that this kid is a chosen one? Something like that, probably. I'm in perpetual Michael J. Fox mode right now from staying up till 3:30, you know? So, I mean, that's what happens when my voice gets tired. So it's like people are going, that doesn't sound like anything different than him. But, yeah. And if Doc Brown was Qui-Gon, you know.
Of course.
That's right, Obi-Wan. This little kid is a chosen one. Go figure. Okay. Oh, Darth Maul, look out, you know. Something like that, probably, yeah.
Classic.
That's just to go to show, too. It's easier for me to do voices that aren't as close to my voice.
Yeah.
As it, you know, people go, oh, well, isn't it easy to do Michael J. Fox and David Spade? No, it's easier to do Doc Brown and Gilbert Gottfried and Fred Flintstone because they're so far removed from where I am.
Right, they're total caricatures, you know?
Yeah.
Wow, amazing.
So we're getting into season 3.
Yes.
And with each season, do these kind of events get easier or do they get more difficult?
No, they definitely get easier. And they're so much fun. And God bless you all. I mean, it's just the fans here are wonderful. And everybody is so kind to us and so gracious and giving. You know, I get people coming up and giving me things. That just like, it chokes me up. But we got to see episodes 1 and 2 of season 3 the other day.
Right.
Dave had a little private screening for us as a cast, and we got choked up there. These 2 episodes, you know, you're going to see, I know what I can say, so I'll say it.
Okay.
You're going to see more clones. You're going to see just some really, really, really cool clones stuff happening. You're going to see some characters that are old Star Wars characters, you know, brought back in here, and
Really?
right off the bat,
Awesome.
a Jedi or 2, a female Jedi that's very cool looking that might be there. Are you all right there?
No,
Yeah, a
I'm
little
okay.
sneeze.
It's hay fever.
Yeah, voiced by a very talented voice actress by the name of Tasia Valenza.
Wow.
And Tasia will now will be IMDb'd all over the place. But so no, there is some amazing stuff in this. But also the biggest thing that took me was the artists that put this show together, from Dave and Joel, who's the lighting and all. I mean, it is amazing to think that this is a television show, and I defy anybody to call this a kid's show. I just, you know, it's like don't call this a kid's show. And I don't mean that in a negative, because it is a family show.
Right.
But it is also the best show on television, in my opinion.
Yes, it is.
Because it is, and I would say that if I wasn't on it.
Yeah.
And I have, you know, people such as celebrities and people that are on things. You know, Clancy Brown is a good friend of mine. And Clancy, I don't know if anybody knows from Highlander, the bad guy in Highlander that, you know, gets it at the end. He's also a very talented voice actor. And he's like, I watch the show religiously with my son. It is the best show on television. And that guy's been on Lost. So, you know, I figure he knows a little something about TV and acting and stuff. So,
Well, it doesn't really hit you until you do have kids of your own. And while my daughter, she's only 2, it's nice to know that there are still shows out there that you can just plop down on, watch.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry, you know?
Absolutely right. And there's a great message. There's always something going on in those fortune cookies at the opening, you know, those have a meaning. And Dave Filoni and George Lucas are people that live their lives as every situation can be a good one. And we shouldn't be looking at, you know, waking up in the morning and thinking, we should be going, okay, a new opportunity to conquer the world. And look what these men have done. And that's what they try to pass on to their fans and to the families with those fortune cookies and with the messages. Because if you watch these, even though we've gotten darker, it's all still about hope.
Right.
And finding that hope and holding on to that hope. And that's what I try to do every day, you know, in my life. And on my Facebook and stuff, I try to put out positive things for people. And that's inspired by, you know, the work of this show. So,
James, were you in the room for the main event?
yes, I was.
And what did you think?
I was seated much farther back than you. But I was there. I thought it was amazing. It was so great. Jon Stewart was very funny, and you know, he gets it, and he watches.
Yeah.
Hey, I liked the fact one slipped by a lot of people, but he made a bald reference when we were talking about Ventress. I'm like, okay, this guy actually knows the show. He watches these things. He knows what's going on.
Yeah.
And George Lucas, you know, what a cool guy, you know? Think of the pressure, you know, that is on him to be in front of all these people that think they know more about Star Wars than him.
So true.
Because, you know, everybody's kind of like, because anytime somebody's on a stage talking about Star Wars, we all kind of get into this, okay, let's see what you know.
Yeah, what you
And
got?
then you're like, oh, wait a second, it's George Lucas. Okay, I got to just relax and listen. Yeah.
Well, you know, no matter what, he's always going to be right.
Exactly. So I am from, what was it, Stewjon.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
The planet Stewjon. Obi-Wan Kenobi, he revealed.
That was revealed during the main event, that Obi-Wan Kenobi is from the planet Stewjon. Now, is this going to become canon, do you think? Is this going to be written into an episode?
I don't know. You never know, yeah.
Obi-Wan goes home for the family
and
reunion.
maybe Jon Stewart will be my father, right?
Yeah, maybe.
James, one of the things that Dave talks about is he's had several ends in mind for this series.
Yeah.
He's had several, and it keeps changing. Does he ever reveal little things to... I'm thinking about Harry Potter, where there were only a few people on the planet that knew whether Snape was really good or bad. One of them was the actor, Alan Rickman, that played the character, because it was important. He felt it was important to know. Does Dave let you guys know on a one-on-one basis little things that might help your choices?
Yes.
And those things would be?
No, don't ask. Jeez.
Yeah. D. Bradley Baker and I last year had a great chance of kind of shadow Dave for a day at the ranch and watch how he goes about his day.
Yeah.
And at lunchtime, we had a very long, interesting talk. And
Cool.
I'll leave it at that. But
it's good to know somebody has the answers.
Yeah, absolutely. There are many different ways that they can play this out,
And still surprises for us. As fans.
There's still
We haven't
surprises
seen
for
it
us
all.
as a cast. Because, we voice it, and a lot of times if you do an episode and you have 10 lines, you're there for your 10 lines sometimes.
Yeah.
Or, because if it's in the first half, they'll let you go, out of courtesy. And a lot of times we'll be like, we'll stay. So you don't always know, and it's like people will ask us, about episodes and things, and they do. And we mean this in the best way. They blend in as one big movie to us.
Yep.
And so sometimes people go, well, what was your favorite episode?
Yeah.
And I go, well, I don't know it by name, and I don't
Right.
mean it because when we get it, sometimes the titles change. Sometimes the scripts change. We go back. We change things in ADR.
Right.
We'll change something. If George sees something, he says, no, I want it to be done this way instead, and he'll make a change. And 6 months later, I'm back in redoing a line, and then you go and you see it, and you go, oh, yeah, wow. But I'm seeing it when you all see it. That's, we get together, and we get on the phone, and we're texting each other going, oh, did you see tonight? Because we're fans as well, so, yeah.
James, we want to be respectful of your time, and I think, did you just get a note?
Yes, it says, well, I can't say it on the air. No.
But
with
are
something-
you expected elsewhere?
No,
Oh.
I'm fine.
Oh, okay.
But let's wrap it up with the most important question was we learned that the Clone Wars was actually going to go in a way different direction than the direction it's in now.
Yeah.
And they were going to cast Fred Flintstone as Obi-Wan Kenobi. I wonder what that might have sounded like.
Qui-Gon, I'm home. Oh, brother. Yeah, but do ya? I have a bad feeling about this, Bonnie.
Probably something like that.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Let's let him off the hook. James Arnold Taylor, ladies and gentlemen, Obi-Wan Kenobi from Star Wars: The Clone Wars.
Thank you so
Premieres.
much, guys.
Thank you,
Thank
dude.
you.
Thank you so much, James. All right, man. James Arnold Taylor, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Hey, it's James Arnold Taylor, the voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I must tell you, the source for the Force is Rebel Force Radio, your source for the Force. The Force is strong here indeed.